Hey guys, welcome to musicianlauncher.com. My name is Ryan Record. I wanted to do a follow-up video on my video I posted a while back called Making Up Your Own Songs on the Piano. By the way, thank you those of you who have liked my video, subscribed to my channel, which I will give you an opportunity to do in this video. But what I want to focus on today is writing catchy melodies that go along with chords. So I'm going to talk about a couple things. I'm going to focus on 4 tips. So here's the first one. Stay close to your chords. That's tip number 1. What this means is, when in doubt and you don't know what's going to work, as long as you're playing a chord tone, it's probably going to work, and you get to decide whether it works or not. So chord tones and non-chord tones, I'm going to talk about those real quick. So let me break it down. Chord tones are tones within a chord. It's not hard, right? It just means if you're playing a C major triad like this, your chord tones are C, E, and G. And you can make a melody using chord tones, but then you can also put in a couple of non-chord tones for a little flavor. So let me try to see what I can come up with here. So I really only used one non-chord tone in the melody, and that was F. And it did sound good, but only in conjunction with the chord tones. And you can come up with many other things doing it this way with many other chords within chord progressions. Going back to my last video, I posted a document called Easy Chords, which you can get some popular chord progressions to play in the key of C. Moving on to tip number 2. Move mostly in stepwise motion. You can do leaps, but most of the time you want to try to move in stepwise motion. This is just a general rule and it doesn't apply to everything, so please don't take it that way. Stepwise motion is when you go from one key to the next, like that, and a leap is anything else. So that's a leap, and this is a leap also. The bigger the leap, the less frequent you want to use them, but they do work in a lot of situations. Allow me to play you an example. Now that's just something I made up off the top of my head, and what I'm doing was I started with staying with these 3 keys, and I gradually got further and further away. And it made for a nice little melody line. Now if I were writing a song, I probably wouldn't like that, just out of personal preference, so I would probably tweak it to something I like. But again, I'm just coming up with something off the top of my head to show you how to do it. Tip number 3, learn your chord inversions. And I'll just explain really quickly what an inversion is. Every chord, every major triad chord has 2 inversions. And the first one, you have root position, which starts with the root on bottom, which is C. And first inversion, we're going to move C to the top, so we're going to put it up here. I'll give you a second to look at that. So now we have E, G, C, still the same chord, different inversion. And then the second inversion, we're going to take E and move it to the top. So we're basically inverting the chord, just as we call it inversions. So now we have a second inversion, C. All chords can do this. Here's the key, the G chord, first inversion, second inversion. Now tip number 4, I'm going to show you how this applies to making good melodies and a chord structure behind it. By using our inversions, we can always put the melody on top, and that is tip number 4. Try to keep the melody on top. Again, it's not an absolute rule, but people tend to be able to hear the melody better when it's on top. So if you're writing piano music and you want the melody heard, it's oftentimes better on top. The nice thing about using inversions is you can use inverted chords with the melody. Let me try to demonstrate. So there again, I was just making something up, and as you can see, I started here, and this is a first inversion C chord. And then as I moved up, like I went here next, okay, this is a second inversion C chord, and then I went to a first inversion F chord. The reason why I use these chords that way is because I wanted to be right here in the melody. So I'm letting my melody line dictate the inversions that I use. This is just another way to fill out the sound using chords while you play your melody. You don't have to do it this way. You could use only a melody line in the right hand and chords in the left hand, which I often do. So that might sound like this. Same basic melodic and chord structure, but I was just voicing it different where I wasn't playing any chords in the right hand. So there you go, there's some 4 tips on making better melodies. I'm going to try to follow up yet again because I'm starting to see some hits on this video. So again, thank you. Please like my video if you like it, and certainly subscribe if you want to see more information. Thank you.